Now, I was also, by the way, on the chairman of the first Citizen Advisory Committee for the Cruffle grants.
Tell our listeners what that is.
Coastal Recreational Fishing License, better known as Cruffle. Um, the money that, whatever it is now, $15 a year for residents, that money goes into two trust funds. Um, One trust fund cannot be used, is untouchable for a certain number of years. And the other fund is used every year for grants for a whole variety of a lot of boat ramps you see along the coast. It can only be used for grants or projects that enhance uh, access to the water or further our understanding of certain fish species of recreational, because again, this is a license that is generated by recreational fishermen, so the money can only be used for those projects that advance the understanding or the betterment of recreational fishing. So the money is used for a lot of high dollar, such as boat ramps. It's also used for a lot of scientific studies on various species. Um, it's the You have to either be a university or a local government or a state agency to qualify for the grant money, and I've always thought that was too restrictive. That that they need to allow NGOs to also qualify, because a lot of nonprofit groups do a lot of good work, and they tap into the fund now, but they partner with a university or one of the qualified um, one of the qualified classes. And about I don't know, $4 or $5 million a year um, is doled out in grants. Um, with this large pot of money growing, the secondary fund that isn't used, and I'm not quite sure what it's being saved for. But we and it's an odd. The structure is rather odd because the state's Wildlife Resources Commission, which regulates freshwater fisheries, already had a licensing program in place. When the legislature did pass the license program, they didn't want to recreate the wheel. So that program is under the auspices of the Wildlife Resources Commission, which has its own commission, and Marine Fisheries has its own commission, regulatory commission. And so they appoint people from each of those commissions to a separate subcommittee to make recommendations on how this money is spent out of the Cruffle license. Um, so the way that now the Wildlife Resource Commission does not has and never has an advisory group. The Marine Fisheries Commission decided it would appoint a group of uh, uh, people who are involved in some fashion in recreational fishing, either fishermen themselves or pier owners or charter boat captains or something. So we had a committee that I co-chaired for several years, in which we would screen all the grant proposals, make recommendations um, to this subcommittee of the two commissions, and then they would then from those they would then pick the winners or the money, the people they wanted to give money to. Till one day I got a letter in the mail that I was fired. We apparently what happened over time was Division of Marine Fisheries was letting us see fewer and fewer grant proposals. Pretty soon we were only seeing a third of, and they have it broken down into science. There's three categories, and then the people category, which is the boat ramps and take a kid fishing and the various, and that's all we were seeing, which is a small percentage of the money. So we complained about it said we wanted to go back to the old way in which we saw everything. But they told us we just didn't understand the science. What did we know about the science? And they have fisheries biologists and all these experts, and what did we know? And we complained until one day I and every other member of that committee got a letter. Thank you for your service, but you're no longer, we're disbanding the committee. So now there is no public review. It is all done internally by the Division of Marine Fisheries. They will have, once they go through their internal culling process, they have one day, they have a public meeting in which all they do is go over those who are going to get money. You don't see everyone who applied. So that breeds suspicion, and that needs to be looked at very carefully.